Hey, today we're going to talk about what is the endocrine system. Typically when we think endocrine, most of the time our mind goes to thyroid. So it's much more than that. So let's establish what an endocrine system actually is. It includes hormones and glands like adrenals, pituitary, pancreas, thyroid. It's actually, consider it the master manipulator of our entire body. So that speaks volumes in and of itself. So during times of stress and trauma, it also works with the brain and our nervous system. Think adrenaline. You know, those times where we're in a crisis, fight or flight, where the body needs to be able to do, you know, those superhuman kind of things. So they all link together at that point in time. And the hypothalamus is that link for the endocrine system to the brain, to the nervous system. Now, what are hormones? Anybody have hormones? Most of we ladies are the ones that get accused of having hormones and hormone imbalances and so on and so forth. The truth of the matter is, male, female, we all have hormones and we all need them to be in balance for the body to stay in homeostasis and above the wellness line. So what are they? They are chemical messengers. They're created in glands that we just referred to, and they travel to certain areas of the body and they have specific jobs to do. The sites where they are sent to have receptor sites. That's how it's determined where to stop, so to speak, in the body, because it matches to those receptor sites. And when those receptor sites, when they fit, that's the place that it stays so it can do what it needs to do in that particular area of the body. Now, some of them travel through our bloodstream. Others are released from the gland right into the tissue immediately surrounding the gland. Think salivary glands. Think sweat glands. Some are actually found in the gastrointestinal tract as well. So we've got glands all throughout the entire body. They're everywhere, and we need them. We need those. We need the glands to produce the hormones and to send them where they need to go, so the body can operate the way it needs to operate. So what are glands? Well, glands are just groups of cells that produce or give off or secrete hormones. So they gather material from the blood. They process it, and then they secrete that finished chemical or hormone into the certain areas of the body where it's needed. So when we think about glands, probably the first gland we really think of is pituitary. The pituitary is the master gland. So the pituitary is kind of the driver, and it's located near the hypothalamus at the base of the brain. There are actually two parts to the pituitary gland. The anterior lobe, and that regulates the activity of the thyroid, adrenals, reproductive, and it produces hormones. The hormones that are produced there include growth hormone, which stimulates growth of bones and other body tissues and plays a large role in how the body handles nutrients, minerals, that type of thing. The pituitary also secretes endorphins, which are chemicals that act on the nervous system and reduce feelings of pain. So that's important. So you can see that just the anterior lobe has a lot of jobs to do, wears a lot of hats. Now the posterior regulates the balance of water throughout our body, and it produces actually an antidiuretic hormone. Pretty cool, right? And it triggers, in a woman about to give birth, it triggers the contractions by producing something called oxytocin. Now, the next gland that's an important part of the endocrine system is the pineal gland or pineal gland. You hear it pronounced both. Same little gland, regardless of how you pronounce it. So it's located in the middle of our brain, and it secretes melatonin. So melatonin is a hormone that actually helps to regulate our wake and sleep cycles or patterns. And it is stimulated to produce melatonin by nerves in the eyes, when it's dark, more melatonin is released and promotes sleep. That's why it's important for us when we go to bed at night to not have the television on, to not have lights on. The body needs it to be dark in order for it to produce the melatonin that we need to actually get the rest and get into the realms of sleep that we need, because there are different realms of sleep, and if we never get into a deep sleep, the body is not resting, recuperating, restoring like it should. So it's really important that we do that, and a dark room is really beneficial for that. Some people actually even like to wear a sleep mask over their eyes for that purpose. Okay, here's the one that everyone always thinks about, that pesky little thyroid. And it's located in the lower part of the neck. It's shaped like a butterfly or a bow tie. And it produces two different hormones there. One is T3, and it plays a lot of vital roles in the body in the metabolic system, the rate, heart, digestive function, muscle control, brain development, and also the maintenance of our bones. So it's really important for that. And we don't typically think of the thyroid having anything to do with bones. The next thing that it produces, a thyroid, is T4. And that's the main hormone that's secreted into the bloodstream by the thyroid. And it has vital roles in digestion, heart, muscle function, brain development, and again, the maintenance of bones. We're going to move on from the thyroid and go to the adrenals. So anybody know where the adrenals are? Where you find them in the body? Well, if you said that they sit on top of the kidneys, you are right. You got it. So they're major players also in the endocrine system. They're very important in general to our health. They are little triangular, about the shape or about the size of maybe a walnut, that sit right on top of our kidneys. And they have two different parts as well, and each has their own action, and they carry out separate functions. So the adrenal cortex, it's the outer part, and it produces the corticosteroids there and regulates salt or sodium levels in our body. So therefore, the water balance in the body. The body's response, how do we respond to stress? Metabolism, immune system, sexual function, and development. So a lot of jobs, this little part of the adrenals. The adrenal medulla is actually the inner part of the gland, and it produces epinephrine or adrenaline. So again, think fight or flight. If we are in that fight or flight stage too long, in other words, if we have too much stress, we can stay in fight or flight, and it's very detrimental to our body. It's really, really hard on the body. So we want to make sure that we don't get stuck there. And a lot of people are. They just go, 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 go. They never rest. They never relax. They're just continually pushing and pushing and pushing. So that is not a good thing. Now, it also regulates blood pressure and our heart rate. So if we're in that state of fight or flight for too long, our blood pressure can be elevated, our heart rate can be elevated. The adrenals need lots of B vitamins, so we would be deficient maybe in B vitamins, different things like that. So it's really important, people, to not allow ourselves to do that, to be stuck there. Okay, so what can we do? Just some really easy things that any of us can do to help support the endocrine system. The first thing is drink enough water. Remember, the hormones are moving throughout the body. They need a way to move. So we've got to have enough water, and plus the water flushes things that we don't want in the body, correct? Avoiding things like plastic and foam. Use glass. Use stainless steel. Enameled stoneware. Anything like that. You're avoiding Teflon. Those kinds of things, because they can wreak havoc on the endocrine system, because they are chemicals. And if we're cooking on Teflon and it's heated very high, it will emit those chemicals into our food. So we don't want that. And microwave ovens, they just change the molecular structure of our food or our water or our drinks, whatever we put in there. There's a reason it's called nuking. We want to go with grass-fed organic meats. there are people that make that available. There are farms that do that. So we want to do that. We want wild caught fish. We don't want fish that's been raised in a farm. That's icky. We want to limit our dairy. It needs to be organic and raw. Otherwise, we're getting hormones, and if we're drinking milk, it's been pasteurized, so it's been heated to such a temperature that it's actually no longer a food, it's a chemical. We want to make sure that we're getting enough good fats, because good fats feed the brain, right, and other things, and allow all these glands to do their job. So cold pressed olive oil, coconut oils, organic grass-fed butter, things like that. Eliminate hydrogenated fats. Vegetable oils, margarine. You know, margarine is like right there at being a chemical. At being a plastic. So stay away from that stuff. Choose non-GMO foods, guys. So I know some of you are thinking, gee, it's going to cost more money. Yeah, pay now or pay later. But I choose to pay now. That's why I'm proactive with so many things in my own health journey. So that is an explanation of our endocrine system. I will be back in the next day or two with the next step and the next video. So have a great day.